CC, is that nearly every week we get to spend time with the Hall of Fame coach. Tonight, we get two of them. Roy Williams and Jim Boeheim have a combined 70 years of head coaching experience. Boeheim in his 41st season at Syracuse, second among active D1 coaches in wins. He's been to 5 Final Fours, including last year against Williams and the Tar Heels. And tonight, Williams looks to join Boeheim in elite company. With the victory, he'll pick up win number 800, making him the 9th Division I coach to reach the milestone. But as any Hall of Fame coach will tell you, he's not worried about that number. He's worried about number 17 on the season for his team.
Well, that's what he said to us before the game tonight. Syracuse ball as the tip was knocked out of bounds by Isaiah Hicks of North Carolina. Orange come in winners of 3 of their last 4.
North Carolina in man-to-man. And Syracuse is going to try to make these North Carolina big guys step away from the basket as Torian Thompson knocks down his first shot. That's his game, Sean. Thompson is a very good mid-range shooter to about 17, 18 feet.
He's a freshman out of New York City. Justin Jackson, Joel Berry. Jackson's been hot from beyond the arc, so the Orange right up on him in that 2-3 zone.
Yeah, it's been a while since you've done a basketball game, Sean. I was going to ask if you could identify Syracuse's defense.
There's Berry for 3.
What kind of year is Joel Berry having? He has been outstanding from the very first game.
They had 26 in their win over Florida State here on Saturday, and a block shot by Jackson as he denied John Gillen, the penetrator.
And when you think about Berry, he's had as good a year as any point guard in the country. The only one I would say better from a major conference team would be Frank Mason III at Kansas. He has been absolutely spectacular, but Joel Berry's right there with him.
And we'll see Kansas in the second half of our big Monday doubleheader. Nice pass, Hicks underneath to Kennedy Meeks, and it's 5-2 Tar Heels.
North Carolina, Sean, does a great job of overloading the zone. And that time they overloaded the left side of the floor, and that left Kennedy Meeks wide open underneath with nobody guarding him.
Torian Thompson swings it to Tyler Lydon. Tyus Battle. He's been Syracuse's best player lately. Off the mark, and the rebound down to Jackson.
Well, Battle missed that shot, but you like how he drove the ball. That's the next step for him.
And there's the advantage that Jay spoke of. For North Carolina, best rebounding team in the country. Jim Boeheim unhappy as Kennedy Meeks has given the Heels a 7-2 lead.
It's ridiculous how good of an offensive rebounding team North Carolina is, especially weak side rebounding. They get to the weak side and get so many second chance opportunities.
Thompson to miss, and nobody in Orange anywhere near the offensive glass.
I don't think anybody expected that shot to be taken. And that's where you take a bad shot, all of a sudden it puts your defense in a bad spot.
Eddie Williams fed it inside to Meeks. Shot clock down to 10 for North Carolina. Williams missed the 3. Justin Jackson blocked by Andrew White. Transfer from Nebraska, and it's out of bounds to Syracuse.
There are a lot of different ways to attack a zone. You certainly want to penetrate the gap, but you can see North Carolina's got 4 guys on one side of the floor, and everybody shifts over, and you got way too many guys guarding the ball there. That left Kennedy Meeks wide open. And then anytime there's a miss, you've got to lay a body. There were 3 Syracuse Orange there, only 2 Carolina Tar Heels, and nobody turned to block out. Everybody turned to jump. And that's going to be advantage North Carolina because they wedge out and go after the ball as well as any team in the country on the offensive glass.
Lydon called for a travel by John Gaffney. The other officials are Ron Groover and Doug Schaus.
I think this North Carolina team is better defensively this year than they were last year, and they went all the way to the title game. Great pass.
And the dunk by Isaiah Hicks. And Jim Boeheim may not wait for the media timeout under 16 minutes. Well, he is asking for a timeout. They have really struggled on the road. He is concerned about his team's confidence away from the Carrier Dome.
Well, this is a good interior screening team. Just went right over the top to Isaiah Hicks. Too easy.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by eBay. Find us.
You know, last year, you could see that the pieces were there.
Yes.
And last year, the schedule wasn't very hard down the stretch. This year, it gets very hard down the stretch.
Well, and remember last year they got off to that amazing start, and it was really clear that they were going to be an excellent team. Oh, what a play by Tyus Battle to save a bucket. But they also, they had Michael Benajay last year and
Trevor Cooney.
Yeah, Benajay. You know that spelled? It starts with a G.
I do.
But the G is silent.
I was there for some of those games last year. And being a Syracuse graduate, my retention of key information is always excellent.
I thought you were going to respond by saying you wish you had a silent J.
Oh, yeah, I forgot that. It's an old joke by now. All of America feels that way. Isaiah Hicks missed a shorty. And it's taken off the glass by the freshman Thompson.
Here's the guy that needs to get going, Andrew White. You can't pick up his dribble there on the sideline. That is just death.
Well, he can, but it's not a good
it's not a good way to do it. Exactly.
Thompson a miss. And the rebound down to Meek. Syracuse scored the first bucket of the game. It's been 9-zip for Carolina. Since then, the three rattled out for Justin Jackson. Thompson guarded by Meeks. And a travel. Tuesday, that would be tomorrow on ESPN and everywhere else. In fact, it's still Tuesday. It's another great doubleheader of hoops starting in the SEC. Number 5, Kentucky against Mississippi State in Starkville. And then at 9, the Big Ten matchup, Michigan and number 17, Wisconsin from the Kohl Center. Super Tuesdays presented by CenturyLink. Those games also streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN. Will you be at either of those games?
I will not. I will be watching both of them, though. And because I'll tell you what, you've seen Kentucky. They are coming on. That is a really good team that is getting better and better. And Ben Howland's got an improved team. How about Ben Howland goes from Santa Barbara to Starkville, Mississippi? But Malik Monk is as good a basketball player, let alone as good a freshman, as you're going to find in the country. And Ethan Happ of Wisconsin, boy, he's had a tremendous start to his sophomore year. His footwork, I have said this, I think people think I was comparing him to Kevin McHale. And not, but he's got Kevin McHale's feet. His footwork is McHale-esque.
Joel Berry a deep three. He has 6, 2 for 2 from beyond the arc. They're a much better three-point shooting team, Carolina, than a year ago. They're 37.2 this year for the year. That's 5 percentage points better than their Final Four team. Tyler Roberson got his own miss and dropped it back in off the bench with a quick bucket for Coach Boeheim.
Well, Roberson's been playing much better in ACC plays, averaging 9 points, 8.5 rebounds, 4 of those rebounds offensive. And he really struggled to start the year. And when you're a rebounder, energy guy, if you're not playing with sort of relentlessness, then it really takes away from what you're capable of doing. That's what happened to Roberson.
Nate Britt in front of the Syracuse bench was fouled.
Look how deep Joel Berry is here, and Tyus Battle's got to get out there, and he's got to get a hand up and discourage that shot. And you're right, Sean. Like, this is a much better shooting team, and it's not just that Berry's been better. Justin Jackson is now the shooter that everybody expected him to be out of high school. And Kenny Williams, who only made 1 3 last year, is really shooting the ball much, much better.
Good defense by Gillen, intercepting the pass. Top of that zone with the newcomers. Gillen and White has not been anywhere near as good for Syracuse as it has been in recent years. Battle underneath Roberson with some instant energy off the bench, and the Syracuse bench comes alive. Jim Boeheim was talking about that. Even though Gillen and White are graduate student transfers, they're new players in this system.
Yes.
And there's still a learning curve going on, even though they're experienced players elsewhere.
Well, they've got habits, but they're not Syracuse habits. And Syracuse habits with the way they play defense are a little bit different. Like oftentimes in the zone, Sean, when the ball goes into the middle, the zone will kind of collapse a little bit. That's not what Syracuse wants to do. The ball goes in the middle. They go to shooters. And so they're not collapsing. They're letting the bottom guys deal with that.
Roberson on the glass again. Boy, he loves playing on Big Monday in the state of North Carolina. We remember his 20 rebound effort against Duke at Cameron Indoor Stadium, set the opponent record.
That is what makes him a very good player is his ability to rebound and be relentless.
What an offensive rebound by Justin Jackson, Jr. out of Tomball, Texas.
He's the leading scorer of this team. His overall game has really, really improved. He's an excellent defender. He's got a great feel. You know, he's homeschooled, which I understand your teachers asked your parents to do.
Battle with the bucket for Syracuse. It looked like they might get blown out of the building, but the Orange back within 3. We approach 12 minutes to go in the first half.
So Tyler Roberson was a big factor in that. Just seeing the ball go through the net a couple times for Syracuse has gotten them playing a little bit stronger on defense.
White, Roberson, and now Battle, who's averaged more than 16 points per game in their last 3.
One thing Syracuse got to do, they've got to stop picking up their dribbles off, and they put themselves in some bad spots.
Gillen missed a corner 3. They would have tied it. Jackson charging toward the bucket. Wild shot. And then a foul against North Carolina in the follow-up activity.
Coming up next, 94 feet with the most interesting man in basketball. Handsome, too.
The best. That's who I'd go with.
Is that it? All the best ones?
Oh, yeah. That's an exhaustive. That's all there is. I mean, oh, wait a minute. Chris Fowler.
Nobody else.
Yep, that's it.
You know, it's funny. John Gruden actually agreed with me on that.
I really wish I had brought the air sickness bag from the plane with me here tonight. After, hey, by the way, I think you said Chris Fowler twice, which is fine. He's very good. If which one of you is really, really smart? How come you had to explain to him what the rookie of the year / freshman of the year was? You know, the first year player, rookie of the year, freshman of the year. If you're that smart, you should have known.
Well, when there's 2 of you, there's not a lot of airtime. Kind of like working with you.
I do like the glasses. Is that a new look this year? Are those real? Do you need them to see, or
they are real? But I don't need them to see. I have contact lenses. I just didn't have them in this afternoon.
Pass intended for Theo Pinson. Intercepted. 4 Carolina turnovers. Syracuse down 9-2 a moment ago. Throws it away. Tyler Lydon couldn't catch the pass in the corner.
The last couple of games, Sean, North Carolina's done a much better job of taking care of the ball. They had a 2 or 3 game stretch where they were throwing the ball all over the place. And you know, Roy Williams can live with some turnovers. It's just the careless ones that really bothers him. And some of the turnovers that North Carolina's had thus far in the game have been careless in their passes against the zone. Theo Pinson's in the middle of the zone. Tyler Lydon's going to have to go up and guard him up there. He's going to make a big difference in this team now that he's back.
Wow, Perry has 8 points now. Well, you're handing out your awards. Joel Berry, you're talking about Conference Player of the Year so far. My goodness. He has to be right in that conversation with yourself.
Great cut.
And White. Boy, some contact underneath. Here's Pinson. Played in only 3 games because of a broken foot in the preseason. Berry has it pop out. Pinson on the glass. Fouled on the way back up. And the crowd loves the effort. He is instant energy. The junior from Greensboro, Theo Pinson. The foul on Andrew White is first.
Long-armed and athletic. When he gets a rebound, he can bring it up himself. And one of the best passers on this North Carolina team, if not the best passer. And he found Joel Berry over in the right corner. But then, Sean, you talked about his energy. Then he goes after the offensive rebound. Nobody blocks him out. You put him into the game. He can guard multiple positions. He can guard a point guard. He can guard a 4. Actually, Roy Williams put him at the 5 against Florida State on Saturday just because of all the foul trouble the big guys were in. And he wound up grabbing 10 rebounds in that game.
Pinson misses both free throws. It gets deflected back to him. And good hands by White, but Syracuse couldn't corral it. More than midway through the half, Isaiah Hicks line driving no good from the elbow. Lydon for 3. Tyler Lydon, the sophomore.
Well, that is too easy for North Carolina's transition defense. And Lydon, that means a big guy is going to have to go out and get him. But Theo Pinson's got to find him. But you can't let Syracuse get a wide open 3 like that in transition.
Seventh Woods in off the bench. Deflected out of bounds by Battle.
Syracuse off the rebound. Tyus Battle immediately looks up court, and then nobody's there to pick up Tyler Lydon. That you can work really hard in half-court offense and not get a shot that wide open, and that's where Syracuse likes to get most of their threes, is in transition.
We got off to a slow start. High expectations this year for Lydon. And if they're going to make a run at making the NCAA tournament, they'll have to continue to be good down the stretch. Woods with the shot clock expiring, and on the offensive glass, Luke May off a career-high 15 rebounds in that win against Florida State here Saturday. That's 7 more rebounds than he had ever had in a game before. Right out of the corner. Missed a long 2. Carolina runs with a 4-point lead. Double team. Woods in trouble. 18 to shoot for North Carolina.
Anytime you get the ball in the short corner on the sideline, if you pick up your dribble, Syracuse is going to trap you. That's where they've done that for years. You cannot take the ball there, and you cannot pick up your dribble.
Underneath, Hicks dunks it off the setup from Pinson.
Oh, what a catch. A gutsy pass, but an amazing catch in traffic.
Gillen with a Lydon screen. Yes, it rattled home. Looked like it was going to pop out. First bucket of the game for Gillen.
Well, Gillen pulled up. You go underneath the screen, and he's going to look to shoot. Way too much room.
And Syracuse has lost. Gillen and Frank Howard also plays the point, have not shot the ball well. Big difference in those shooting numbers, wins versus losses from the point guards for Syracuse this year. Ball deflected out high by Hicks.
Isaiah Hicks coming off an excellent game that he had against Florida State, where he had 22 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists. That is a big-time catch and finish. Frank Mason and Devontae Graham, both of whom committed to smaller schools before they wound up at Kansas, and then Josh Jackson, one of the best freshmen in the country. They have a dynamic backcourt. Their front court is the one that's got to get going, and the defense has to play better, because Iowa State's an improved defensive team, and Iowa State is really tough to beat in Hill Coliseum.
Kansas, dating back to last season, has won 33 of the last 35. They were number 2 in the poll out today. Baylor, number 1 for the first time in the history of the school, but for just 1 week after the loss to West Virginia. Villanova back at number 1.
I think that's the right call, actually. You know, Kansas is a really good basketball team. I don't think they're as complete of a team as Villanova is. And, you know, they've each lost only 1 game. It's just a question of when they lost it. But I happen to like Villanova as the number 1, but reasonable minds can differ.
Kansas alone atop the Big 12. 7th Woods called for the foul. First for 7th. Battle.
I see what you did there. That was good.
Yeah, thank you. We'll play on numbers. Very clever. Battle to miss. Battle for the rebound. Won by 7. Looking to whip it inside. Taking advantage of their advantage inside. Kennedy Meeks has 6.
Well, Kennedy Meeks got that early, deep post position. He just went right into Tyler Lydon, locked him down. And that was an excellent pass and great recognition by North Carolina.
North Carolina foul. Crowd hoping for a charge, but it's going to go against Theo Pinson, his 2nd.
Watch how Kennedy Meeks just gets right into the body of Tyler Lydon. He's lower and is able to just lock him down into that spot. And if any time a defender lets the offensive player get into their body, it's basically game over. And if Kennedy Meeks catches the ball with 2 feet in the paint, he's going to score, get fouled, or both.
John Gillen at the line. 8 for 8 now, 9 for 9 from the free throw line over the last 4 games.
He's not shot the ball well in ACC play. Shooting only about, 29 or 30%. And he is a small point guard. That's Syracuse has always been big on the front line of that zone, and they're easier to pass over this year with John Gillen on that front line.
They list him at 6 feet. That might be a little generous. Kennedy Meeks the tip in off the miss by Isaiah Hicks. 8 points for Kennedy Meeks.
North Carolina's got more offensive rebounds than Syracuse has rebounds. And that is not a sustainable trend if winning is the goal.
Which I think that's a safe assumption.
Yeah, usually winning is the goal.
Leiden in traffic with the left, gets the roll and a chance for a 3-point play.
But how about the concentration? His eyes never left the rim, even getting poked in the eye, and use that left hand, spins in. Oftentimes when you spin in the lane and you get the ball taken away from you, look how he made that with one eye closed. I should have said his eye never left the rim.
I don't know if you should have. You could have. Maybe he can borrow those fake glasses you were wearing in the 94 feet deal.
It's called style. It's called style.
They did give you a much-needed intellectual look.
I certainly don't have one here at the table.
Jackson. Williams. Meeks now out to the free throw line. Jackson for 3.
Well, Jackson did a really nice job there. He set a screen and then shaped up from that screen after the defender, John Gillen, got over it. But just anytime you set a screen, the screener's the likely player to be open.
It's 1 out of 4 from beyond the arc tonight for Jackson. A pass a little too hot to handle for White from Roberson. 5 turnovers against Syracuse.
Well, Justin Jackson, he sets a screen on Gillen here. Gillen tries to get over it a little bit, and then all of a sudden he is wide open. Justin Jackson is after setting that screen, and Jackson shooting over 40% from 3 on the year, averaging about 18 a game.
Isaiah Hicks from just inside the arc. He's had some big performances against Syracuse last year in their win at the Carrier Dome. Hicks had 21 points, 8 rebounds at the time. Both of those numbers were career highs. Leiden a step back 3. Roberson, his 3rd rebound. White for 3.
Great job by Tyler Roberson, not only to get that offensive rebound, but have the presence of mind to find Andrew White and then set a little screen for him.
First points for White. He's the Syracuse leading scorer for the year, just under 16 points per game.
Andrew White, this is his 3rd school.
Yes.
He started off at Kansas, then went to Nebraska. Now wound up at Syracuse.
They have 2 players who've done that. Gillen with the ball now started out at Arkansas Little Rock, transferred to Colorado State, graduated from there, had a year of eligibility left, and came to the Harvard of Central New York, Syracuse University. Finished his education.
Both of them in search of amazingly good weather.
Traveling the call against Leiden. Mr. Happy Coach, not particularly happy at the moment.
Well, he's telling Tyler Leiden, like, look, you can't make a move like that. If you're going to shake your shoulders to get open, you can't do that. It's got to be a straight line drive. And really right now, anytime you catch the ball, you have to catch it prepared to shoot it. That way you'll establish a pivot foot. You'll be less likely to travel. Then you can make your move.
Berry off the mark. Meeks just ripped it away and scored with a little bump from Roberson.
John, right now, with the exception of Tyler Roberson from Syracuse, it's been men against boys on the glass.
11 offensive rebounds for North Carolina, and the largest lead of the night for the Tar Heels as the crowd fully engaged. Joel Berry called for the foul. It takes us to a media timeout.
Kennedy Meeks, the senior from Charlotte, North Carolina, has been dominating inside, especially on the offensive glass, and it is so hard to defend a second.
Peppa Bell's only guy within 94 feet talking to himself could forget about you, Reese Davis, and McDonough. In 94 feet, who's the guy with the glasses?
That's a good point by Seth. Jay mentioned the numbers. Carolina with more offensive rebounds than Syracuse has total rebounds. By the way, that 94 feet thing, it seemed like it went a lot longer than 94 feet. Usually that moves briskly, but since you were interviewing yourself, it seemed to be longer.
Well, when I'm in New York picking up my Emmy for it, I'll remember that you said that.
I don't know if I heard Carl Ravage's name on your list of fine play-by-play people. He's doing more and more play-by-play and doing an excellent job.
He is doing an excellent job, and that was what I would call an intentional oversight.
Battle with the bucket for the Cuse, 5 for the freshman, and it's a 7-point game as we approach 3 minutes to go.
You know, Ravi, I worked last week with Ravi, did the Duke Georgia Tech game, and he did something that I thought as a play-by-play guy that was amazing. He let the analysts speak. You ought to try that.
Don't get used to it. Battle. Barry thought it was clean. The crowd did as well. It's the second foul on Joel Berry, the second. NBA superstars highlight our Wednesday doubleheader. The first game has the Bucks squaring off against James Harden and the Rockets. That's at 8, and then, how about this one? I know you'll be watching. Russell Westbrook and the Thunder take on Kevin Durant and the Warriors. And not a lot of love, I think, in that relationship with former teammates. Coverage tips with NBA Countdown. They'd like me to be done by now so we can talk about the graphic. Charge my Mountain Dew at 7. Also live on Watch ESPN.
Well, Russell Westbrook's had an amazing year. But how about Golden State? Now it goes to being Kevin Durant's team instead of Klay Thompson and Steph Curry.
Has it done that?
It seems like it. It seems like we talk about Durant.
We just promoted him, so
exactly.
It is his team. Justin Jackson, line drive 3, 8 points.
His consistency, Justin Jackson's, has been just terrific this year. And it hasn't just been his shooting. That's been the highlight. But he's playing every facet of the game. Tyler Lydon just did the same thing. He's shuffling instead of, if you're going to drive it, straight line drive to the basket. But Justin Jackson is rebounding. He's defending. He's getting out in transition, putting the ball on the deck. He's a complete basketball player that's got a great feel for the game. And he has been, to this point, he's been a first-team All-ACC performer.
Isaiah Hicks stripped down low, but it wound up back in his hands and a foul. Here's Allison Williams.
Well, guys, Syracuse having some struggles on the defensive end and certainly not performing very well rebounding, and that can be a product of just how inexperienced this group is. You guys mentioned the graduate transfers and the young players, and assistant coach Mike Hopkins told me before the game where that transcribes onto the game is they struggled to learn to rebound in this system, and then they also have a hard time with the reads and making adjustments within the possession, getting that anticipation down. That all takes time. So when you're inexperienced and you're playing in this zone, you don't learn those unique aspects. You see the spikes and the valleys in the way they play, and it's hard to get that consistent play on the defensive end. We've certainly seen that this year and here tonight with Syracuse.
That's a good point, Allison. The Syracuse zone is a lot more complicated than people may think. I mean, there are certain slides that they have to use, and as I mentioned before, when the ball goes into the middle, they fan out to three-point shooters.
Britt the steal, the bad pass, and then a good effort by Gillen to get back, but it wound up with Hicks for the dunk.
Well, Carolina has not played its best in this first half, and still they're going to have 44, 45 points at halftime.
Hicks doing it to Syracuse again. He has 12 points in 15 minutes. Battle can't quiet the crowd. Race for the rebound won by Hicks. Williams for 3. Long rebound. Meeks got there ahead of Andrew White. Meeks powered to the bucket, missed the shot. Roberson the rebound.
Yeah, that's got to be disappointing for Jim Boeheim that Kennedy Meeks out-battled Andrew White, not up on the glass, but on the floor to get that ball.
Roberson underneath. Lydon scores, tightly guarded by Hicks. 8 points for Lydon off a 16-point effort in their home win over Boston College on Saturday.
He's played so many different positions this year. Started out as a 3-man, now he's a 5-man again in the middle of that zone, and that's tough for a guy his size.
Especially against this bunch.
Exactly.
Jackson to the goal. Meeks all alone. Nobody there for Syracuse with Kennedy Meeks right on the rim.
Well, when Lydon tried to take that charge, there's got to be a rotation over, and there's been a lack of physicality under the basket by Syracuse.
Well, he missed Pascal Chukwu. who transferred in from Providence, sat out last year. He's 7'2". Jim Boeheim was hoping that he'd be a force in the middle of that zone. He really wasn't as much as they thought he would be when he played earlier in the year. He's out with a detached retina. Way up no good for Gillen, and that's halftime. 13 offensive rebounds for North Carolina. Hicks and Meeks doing a lot of that work on the glass. 12 points apiece. Berry and Jackson have 8. At the half, 42-30, Carolina over the Cuse. Let's send you back to the studio. Here's Carl.
You know, it was 26-10 on the glass, and if Syracuse can't find a way to compete on the glass in this one, it's going to be all Carolina in the second half.
Excellent analysis. A moment ago, Allison spoke with Roy Williams.
Coach, 26 rebounds in that first half. What enabled your guys to be in the right position, especially on the offensive end?
Well, we work on it an awful lot, but the thing that bothers me is Roberson got 3 offensive rebounds for them. That's all they got, but they turned it into 7 points. So we got to make sure we keep him off because he's a heck of a rebounder.
You told me how important your bigs would be in attacking that zone. What have you seen from Meeks and Hicks?
We haven't moved nearly as well as we want to. We had a couple of flurries where we did, and all of a sudden then we're standing around, so we got to move more, Allison.
Thanks, Roy.
All right, Allison, thank you. Roy Williams, of course, a chance to make history tonight. The win tonight would be career victory number 800. He's already in the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame in Springfield, Massachusetts. Good ball movement. It leads to a 3 for Kenny Williams.
It won't show up in the box score, Sean, but that shot fake by Justin Jackson on the reversal was what got Kenny Williams open. Shot fake, 1 dribble, and the pass to Williams. And you can get so much accomplished just with a ball fake or a shot fake. You don't even have to move.
John Gillen looking for help now. They're down to 8 seconds on the shot clock. Trouble on the dribble for Torian Thompson. He drives down the left side of the lane and missed the runner. Batted by Hicks to Williams. Joel Berry, Kennedy Meeks, Isaiah Hicks, the starting 5 out there. The second half for North Carolina. Jackson errant from 3-point range, and Kennedy Meeks hip check Leiden to the ground.
Justin Jackson is such a good shooter. When he catches the ball here after the ball goes inside on the closeout, just a little shot fake, and that shot fake is what got Kenny Williams that 3. Ball goes inside, and that's when the Syracuse defense isn't supposed to collapse like that. It's supposed to get out to 3-point shooters. That's what they want to take away. Let the middle guy take Isaiah Hicks there, not the guards.
Leiden a 3 from the top. He has 11. The average is 13 per game, but that number's been coming up recently.
And North Carolina's not shot a great percentage on their first shot. It's all these second shots and transition opportunities.
Good hands by Thompson, and he went coast to coast. The freshman who played at St. Anthony for the legendary Bob Hurley Sr. and then finished up at Brewster Academy, fine program in New Hampshire.
He was trying to get his team fired up. He was yelling at everybody, trying to get a little life in the Syracuse team on the road.
And good hands by Battle. There's a little life on that bench now. Leiden off the handoff from White. A little too deep for 3, and Kennedy makes another rebound. Big miss, with Syracuse trying to establish a bit of momentum. Williams another 3, wide right. Leiden the rebound.
Looks like he rushed that a little bit. That might have been a nice shot fake and drive, or shot fake and reversal. Isn't it amazing, Sean? So many times, bad shot on one end leads to a layup or an open 3 on the other. It's almost automatic.
7-0 run for Syracuse after the bucket by Tyus Battle. Hicks, baseline jumper, pops out. And a little more aggressiveness on the glass. I think Jim Boeheim probably got after his team at the half about that. White ripped down the rebound. Gillen a fancy pass. White is open for 3, and the run continues for the Orange.
Well, poor defense by North Carolina. Just a lack of urgency to get out to the ball. And that's unlike Joel Berry, not to be alert and right on that shot.
A 12-point North Carolina lead is quickly down to 5. And White extended his leg and got called for the foul for Syracuse.
Kenny Williams takes a bad one because it's under duress. That should have been a shot fake and a drive or shot fake and pass, and then all of a sudden a really poor transition defense by North Carolina, and all of a sudden you've got Syracuse basically laying that in.
Here come the Orange, even closer, battle to lay in.
North Carolina did not come out for a fight in this second half, and now all of a sudden they've got one.
And Syracuse did. Jim Boeheim looking for some toughness from his team on the road. He used the word fragile last night to describe their psyche on the road this season. They haven't won a game away from the Carrier Dome. The response by Jackson, he has 10 for North Carolina, but it's a ball game with 16 minutes to go in this matchup of Hall of Fame coaches.
And that response by Jackson was just simple. Just a ball reversal fake and a nice drive into the middle.
White, strong drive. The rebound down to North Carolina as the shot spun out.
Well, when you get an easy shot like that, and for Andrew White, that was an easy shot. It's almost like a wide receiver that gets hit in the hands in football. You got to make that. I mean, that's a gut punch for Syracuse to miss that.
Meeks went up, tried to dunk it, got fouled. Torian Thompson, hands on hips, nodding yes at the official, but I'm not sure if that was sarcastic or not. He gets called for the foul, his first. Impressive run by Syracuse to get back into it on Big Monday. Halftime is roared back. They had a 12-0 run to get within 3. It is now a 5-point lead for North Carolina and a chance to build it for Kennedy Meeks at the free throw line.
Syracuse, Sean, came out in the second half a little more fight, a little more active, and Torian Thompson was part of that fight. He and Tyus Battle have done a nice job of injecting some energy into this Syracuse team.
As a nod to Big Monday's past, we might say they came out with a little woo-woo. Meeks, 1 out of 2. The rebound for Thompson.
Syracuse has to find Andrew White some shots. He's the leading scorer. Justin Jackson guarding him. Good defender, long, and he's not really helping off of him. Let the other guys beat you. Don't let Andrew White do it.
Ooh, good hands. Bad pass by Gillen. Good hands by Williams, and the bucket by Jackson. Costly turnover by Gillen. Seen very little of Frank Howard. He's been basically splitting time at the point. But Gillen's gone almost the whole way. That's a deep 2 for Tyler Lydon.
Well, Frank Howard started the year in the starting lineup as the point guard, was leading the ACC in assists, but in ACC play he's only averaging 2 points, 2.5 assists per game. He's shooting 23% from the field, and his best games, Frank Howard's, came against the lesser teams on the schedule, against the major conference teams. He just didn't perform at a high level.
Foul before the shot, and we mentioned common denominator in these 7 Syracuse losses. The point guards have not shot the ball well at all. Howard and Gillen have combined 24% in those 7 defeats. 16% from 3. Torian Thompson called for his second foul. And more of the same tonight. Gillen's 1 for 5 in this game.
And when you don't get point guard play at the highest level, it's really difficult. I liken it to a quarterback in football. I mean, when you don't have one, you're covering up all the time. It's just really difficult.
Luke May from beyond the free throw line. 4 points for the sophomore from Huntersville, North Carolina.
Luke May averages about 6 rebounds per game. And you mentioned the 15 boards he had against Florida State. That was a big-time performance. 5 of those rebounds were offensive.
Against the Florida State team that had won 12 in a row. Lydon, another 2.
You have to keep a hand up on Tyler Lydon. If he drives you, fine. But you've got to discourage that jump shot. He's already walked twice with it. Make him drop. He's an active target in the middle of that zone.
And Meeks active on the offensive glass. Tipped in the three-point miss by Jackson. 15 for Kennedy Meeks.
Roy Williams told Allison Williams that he wanted more movement out of his big guys, and that's the reason why. More movement from the big guys, the harder they become to box out in this zone, and the more offensive rebound opportunities will present themselves.
Battle lost it off his leg. 10 turnovers for Syracuse. Tomorrow night, another great doubleheader. Starting in the SEC, Kentucky and Mississippi State. Then to the Big Ten, Michigan, a bubble team right now with Joey Brackets. Number 17, Wisconsin from the Kohl Center. Wisconsin a win over Syracuse in its non-conference action this year. Super Tuesday presented by CenturyLink. Also streaming live on the ESPN app. Williams is wide open for three. That's too easy.
Just replacing up from the corner. He waltzed into that shot. You don't get that much time to shoot in a game of horse.
North Carolina team that has been on a roll offensively. There's a response for three.
Justin Jackson had stayed right on Andrew White, and Theo Pinson just on him gives him a little bit of space. It shows you how quickly White, who's a catch and shoot specialist, how quickly he can catch it and get into his shot. That catch and release is ultra quick.
9 points for White. Carolina has scored over 90 points in each of the last 3 games. Pinson winds up with the free ball. May left alone, gets the bounce.
Well, that was a good play by Luke May. Caught it, looked baseline, gave a little pass fake, and when he wasn't guarded, calmly went up for that shot. Didn't rush anything.
Gillen lost the ball in the lane. Pinson alone on a run out. I think Jim Boeheim thought Gillen was fouled on a reach-in that led to the turnover and the run-out. Lydon with Meeks up on him. Tyler Lydon, 2 more.
Tyler Lydon is a really good player. There's a lot of responsibility on his shoulders. Last year, what was he, maybe the 4th leading scorer, but people thought that, hey, you know, he could go pro, all that stuff. He's not quite there yet, but give him another year, and that kid's got a chance to be a really, really good player.
Too much dribbling by White, and then he fouls as North Carolina looked to go quickly to the other end.
Well, North Carolina coming out with a little more verve the last 5 minutes and got it done defensively.
List. Can't go with Justin. Too skinny. Joel, too strong.
I go with Joel.
I'm going with Kenny Williams.
Kennedy. We just won't give it to him in that situation. Isaiah, just no. Tony, he won't even get it to the goal. Brandon, no way getting it to the goal.
Not Theo?
No. Not Theo. No, not Theo.
I don't know if I can be as confident with Theo out there.
Bottom line, I got all the everything you need to make a half-court shot. So.
Theo's got confidence in himself. His teammates not so much, but you know who did pick him? The only vote that matters. Coach Roy Williams said Theo Pinson is his guy from half court.
All right, Allison, thank you.
He made a pretty darn good pass there on his drive underneath to get Isaiah Hicks a near dunk.
So let me make sure I get this right. I've been doing Big Monday for like 1,000 years, probably before you and Allison were born. You have 94 feet with yourself.
Right.
She has Allison asks.
Yes.
Do I get any kind of segment? You know, I Monday Night Football, I have the Gruden Grinder.
I'll open the door for you when you leave.
Feeling very, very left out. They're over at the monitor. Oh, hello. Oh, wait.
I think they're looking.
Sure
are they looking to see if that was a 3?
But it's a clock issue. That's good. Rescuing me from myself, my incessant whining. They call that branding. I think if Allison,
they call it
a segment.
They don't call it branding. They call it fabulous television.
Well, you guys should have to go out and find a sponsor. Let's help everybody in the company. If 94 Feet presented by X, Allison Asks presented by X.
That your next career is right in front of you in the marketing department. Huh?
That's it. 13 points for Isaiah Hicks after a very late whistle against Andrew White, which was his 4th foul.
Isaiah Hicks just had his high school jersey retired about 10 days ago in Oxford, North Carolina. Nice honor.
Maybe you could have done 94 feet with him.
He was unavailable.
I assume that's why you did that with yourself today, because realistically you couldn't find anybody who would do it.
That's not true. It was public demand.
White rattles home a 3 midway through the second half.
Give the people what they want.
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted 188 feet.
It was amazing how quickly you used the calculator to figure out what 94
My knuckle abacus
times 2 is. There's a 3 for Theo Pinson. He's a crowd favorite.
Well, this crowd knows how much better North Carolina will be and can be with Theo Pinson in the lineup.
White, the response.
Theo Pinson, just as we were praising him, made a little defensive mistake. You cannot help on the drive, ball side on Andrew White, because you're not going to be able to stop that drive and then get back to him and take away the shot. You're better off taking away the shot from him, and don't worry as much about helping on the drive. That's a foul.
Yes, it is. Williams tripped up, battled. Syracuse defense forced the turnover. How about the numbers we just saw, Jay? Syracuse is 11 for 14 from the floor in this half, but they've only taken 3 points off their halftime deficit.
Exactly. And I watched Theo Pinson helps here. That's too much of a gap to be able to close out on a great catch and shoot guard like Andrew White. Andrew White, one of the best scorers in the ACC, but it's because he gets so many catch and shoot opportunities. You have to stay with him there. The rest of your defense and your teammates can make it a tough 2, but you can't give a step in open 3. Syracuse, Sean, you identified it, put so much pressure on their offense with the amount of second shots they've given up. Their defense hadn't been bad. It's just they haven't finished it by getting offensive rebounds. Or defensive rebounds, excuse me, giving up offensive rebounds.
Now, Roberson got an offensive rebound for Syracuse, couldn't finish. 8.5 minutes to go. Carolina by 9. A win would be number 800 of Roy Williams' career.
He's had a remarkable career.
Nate Britt, no good from 3-point range. Roberson, the rebound.
Think about Roy Williams. He started out his career in coaching as an assistant here to Dean Smith, and then became the head coach at Kansas in 1988-89, right after Larry Brown left and Kansas won the national championship. I mean, the coaching tree that he's been a part of goes all the way back. I mean, from Roy Williams to Dean Smith. Dean Smith played for Fog Allen. Fog Allen was with James Naismith at Kansas. Goes all the way back to the beginning of the game. That's remarkable.
It is remarkable. Pinson, maybe a little carried away after he made one a moment ago. 7:37 to go. Immediate timeout. Carolina can't get rid of Syracuse. It's a 7-point game.
Frank Mason and Mr. Graham in the backcourt get to deal with Iowa State. Monte Morris, Sean.
All right, Ravi, right after that game, Sports Center at night with John Anderson and Nicole Briscoe. Highlights, breakdowns, college NBA action, NHL, the Australian Open's underway, NFL playoff news, everything else you need to know. Sports Center at night. Battle of miss. Rebound by Isaiah Hicks.
Sean, I don't know if you noticed, but there was a technical problem on that cut-in by Carl and Seth. Seth Greenberg's mic was working.
Pinson to Hicks. A lot of ESPN on ESPN Prime here tonight. Dillon down the lane. No. Kept alive by Roberson, but it's Britt leading at 3-on-2. Jackson to the bucket.
Oh, what a beautiful break by North Carolina. Back breaking.
Timeout called by Jim Boeheim.
North Carolina getting behind the zone and throwing it up over the top. Isaiah Hicks, hard to hide when you're 6'9". And then when your point guard drives in, oftentimes that puts you out of balance, and North Carolina lays it in as a result.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by eBay. Find new, unique, and everything in between on eBay.
This game, it's Roy's high school coach, Buddy Baldwin. And first of all, Buddy, tell me, why was it so important for you to be here tonight for Roy?
Well, Coach got a chance to win his 800th game, and this is really an accomplishment because only one other coach got to 800 quicker than he did, and that was Adolph Rupp. I think I'm right. And he's averaged about 28 wins a year, and that's unbelievable.
So you were his coach back in Asheville. What was he like as a high school ball player? What was Roy Williams like?
As a high school person and player, he was great. He was a great competitor. He was a good point guard who averaged 16.8 his senior year, who held the school record for the most points for 17 years. So people think of him as a coach, but he was a good high school basketball player, a great competitor.
And what were you, like 20 when you were coaching him?
I was 27, 28 in that area.
Awesome, and I know how much you mean to him. Roy told us earlier, his teams have taken him to 8 Final Fours. He's taken his high school coach to all 8 of those. A very special relationship.
Oh yeah, he's been a great friend for a long time.
Buddy, thank you so much. Don.
Thank you, Allison. Coach Baldwin, longtime coach of T.C. Robertson High School. Roy Williams talked about how he knew in high school, because of the experience he had with Coach Baldwin, that he wanted to be a coach. Roy has spoken at a difficult upbringing, and he said, Buddy Baldwin was really the first person who made me feel good about myself, who gave me confidence, and that's one of the reasons why he loves coaching young people, a chance to instill some of those same things in those who need a little guidance and direction. Mitch Kupchak alongside one of the all-time great players here. One of several NBA executives in the crowd tonight. We've seen Danny Ainge here tonight as well. Wide in a deep 3. Every time it looks like North Carolina is going to deliver the knockout punch, Syracuse has a response.
Well, nice play run by Syracuse. They were running a little staggered ball screen, and there was among the 2 guys setting the stagger, one of them set a screen for Tyler Lydon, who was the front of that stagger and was able to get open as a result of it. That was a really well-run play.
Ooh, Roberson way up there to snatch the rebound for Syracuse. Approaching 5 minutes to go. Big possession and a miss by White out of the corner. The rebound and push by Justin Jackson.
Well, Syracuse has had some opportunities in this one, but you give up that many easy baskets and points in the paint, you just got no shot. And that's another easy basket right there. That's 20 second chance points for North Carolina. You just can't overcome that during the course of a game.
And you can't shoot it much better than Syracuse has here in the second half. 62%. They're above 50 for the game, but the turnovers and the rebounding have been killers. And it's Berry to lay it in.
Well, this has not been North Carolina's best game, but they've put a bunch of good spurts together. And they've been solid on the offensive glass.
And by the way, Coach Baldwin had his facts right with Allison Williams. If Roy Williams wins tonight and wins his 800, as Lydon has it roll off and Meeks another rebound, he would be the second fastest to 800 wins in college basketball history. Only Adolph Rupp got there faster. Adolph Rupp 972 games to win 800.
Incredible.
And Roy Williams, this is career game number 1012. Jump shot long by Jackson, 4-on-2 for Syracuse, and White missed the alley-oop. Jackson exploding to the goal, fouled, and count it.
North Carolina dominating the offensive glass and dominating in transition. That has been the difference in the game, and Syracuse had a point-blank shot, miss it on the dunk. Stop it!
Sean McDonough, Jay Billis, Allison Williams back in Chapel Hill, where North Carolina continues to devastate Syracuse on the glass.
Just remarkable the advantage that North Carolina has exerted on the offensive glass. Syracuse knew it coming in, but it is that much more difficult to be able to get a body on somebody. First of all, North Carolina is really good at it. They work on it. They do a lot of great weak side rebounding, but it's especially difficult out of a zone where you don't have, it's not as easy to get a defined blockout responsibility, and you're trying to get Kennedy Meeks blocked out by Andrew White or Tyus Battle. That's tough stuff.
Free throw by Jackson puts the lead back to 15, matching the largest of the night for North Carolina. It's 45-30 in the opening moments of the second half. Justin Jackson called for the foul, his first.
White should have been ready to pull the trigger there.
Guarded tightly by May. Lydon, boy, he shot the ball beautifully tonight, right over Kenny Williams. 24 points for Tyler Lydon. His career high is 29. That was in their loss at home to Georgetown when he went 12 out of 13 from the floor. He's 10 for 13 tonight. Jackson tried to jam it inside, wound up back with him, and May fouled by Roberson, his second.
Tyler Lydon has got a lot of game. He can really shoot it. He's long. He's an excellent shot blocker. And as he gets bigger and stronger, I think he can hold some more weight. He's a player that's got a great future. I just don't think he's quite ready for what he's been projected for. In other words, leaving after this year. Give him another year, and he's gonna be really, really good.
I think Coach Boeheim made the point he would use another 20 pounds or so on that frame. Seems to have the kind of frame you get at it. And he's also seen close up. Malachi Richardson left after a very good freshman year. Didn't get drafted as highly as some had projected. Now he's in the D League.
Right. It's become a developmental. I mean, obviously the D League's developmental, but the NBA's got a developmental component that didn't exist 20 years ago. But it's just a question of, look, there's nothing wrong with going to the D League. It's just a question of what you want to do and what's going to get you the longest career. What's going to start you out to have the long, productive, and lucrative NBA career. Because there's a lot of money available in the league, but if you go in too early, you can find yourself out of the league quickly. Good pass.
Jackson from May. Boy, May's one of those guys, the more you watch him, he does a lot of things that help a team win.
Yeah, he really does. He's not looking for himself. He's looking to make the right play. And just switched off on John Gillen. This North Carolina team's a good passing team. They've got like 22 assists in this game already.
Ooh, Roberson tried to flush it on the offensive glass line and banks it in for 26 points.
At the end of the day, this game has been about rebounding, and it's been about transition. And keeping North Carolina off the glass just proved to be too difficult for Syracuse. The Orange had some really good moments.
May again. He'd be a Gruden grinder. Coach Gruden, probably watching this tonight because he watches every athletic event, would like Luke May.
Well, I think he'd be a good subject for Allison Asks or 94 feet.
Tomorrow at ESPN, another great doubleheader. SEC, Kentucky, and Mississippi State. Kentucky ranked number 5 in the poll out today. Then Michigan and Wisconsin at 9 Eastern time. Villanova's number 1. Who do you think should be number one? Gonzaga hasn't lost a game.
Yeah, but I don't think you can look at, you have to determine who you think the best team is. I mean, if number one's just going to be who lost last or who didn't, who hasn't lost yet, I think it loses something. I'll tell you the team that I think at the end of this, who could be head and shoulders the best team is UCLA. UCLA is ridiculously talented on the offensive end. If they ratchet up their defense just a little bit and become a better defensive rebounding team, UCLA could wind up cutting the nets down in Phoenix at the end of this. They're ridiculously good. I mean, North Carolina can win it. Villanova can win it. There are a bunch of teams that can win it. 5 or 6, maybe 8 that can win it. UCLA can be the best team, bar none, because of their ability to score.
I think Gonzaga can win it. Coach Boeheim agrees with me. Coach Boeheim watches every game. He's like Coach Brewer. He watches everything.
All you Syracuse guys stick together.
Yes, and he said he thinks, and they knocked Gonzaga out of the tournament last year in a mild upset. Starters coming out, bench players getting in now for Syracuse. And the same is true for North Carolina. And there are a lot of young men who are going to be able to say that they played on the night Roy Williams won his 800th career game. 1-on-1 opportunity over Theo Pinson with 53 seconds to go.
Well, Roy Williams told all of us, Allison, you, me, that he's not thinking about 800. He's thinking more about getting his 17th win, this team's 17th win. But you have to believe it's going to be a really nice moment. And Jim Boeheim on the opposite bench is creeping toward 1,000 wins. And for Roy Williams to get 800, a truly remarkable achievement. And in the time frame he's done it at the institutions, two of the great basketball schools in the history of the game, Kansas and North Carolina. Really amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Pinson goes out. Shea Rush, Stillman White are in the game. Chandler Coker is on the floor for North Carolina. Trying to get Aaron Rollman in. You saw Roy bring him to the bench. Sean Belby off the Syracuse bench, sophomore from Brick, New Jersey, which is an appropriately named town after that shot.
Belby crashed into me before the game as I was standing on the sidelines, and it was absolutely a charge. I had both feet set, 2 feet on the floor.
You let him know that.
I did.
Guy Feldman is in for Syracuse. Adrian Autry is in. Mike Sutton on the floor for Coach Boeheim. Both teams have emptied the bench, and we're so happy. Doyen Akintobi Adeyeye, my favorite name to pronounce in college basketball, is in the game for Syracuse as well. Senior from Uniondale, New York. We'll be sorry when he goes.
Because you like saying Adeyeye?
Adeyeye. Adios, Adeyeye. When he leaves, when he graduates from the Harvard of Central New York. Mike Sutton with the rebound out of Norwich, New York. And Adrian Autry fouled.
We're trying to get
Rollman in the game. Yeah. Brandon Robinson called for the foul. So now everybody who is dressed for North Carolina tonight has played. Tony Bradley, the talented freshman, did not play tonight. Still recovering from the concussion. They hope he'll be back for their next game. Adrian Autry, he is the son of the former Syracuse player, terrific player at Syracuse. Kai Feldman, the miss. Final seconds of win number 800 for Roy Williams. Well, Adolph Rupp got to 800 faster. As he said, more important to him, win number 17 of the year. They go to 5-1 in the ACC to stay right on the heels of Notre Dame in conference play.
Roy Williams with his 800th win.